All right, I'm now joined by a very special guest, Kait Maniscalco, baseball content creator, crushes it on TikTok. Ask Kait is where you can find her. Kait, thank you so much for coming on. I've been looking forward to this all week. Like I was just saying, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. The Yankees won last night, thank gosh. So I'm feeling a lot better this morning. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Huge fans of the podcast, so I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you listening. It means a lot. I wanted to start though because I just feel like this 2023 baseball season in particular, it's for you especially. It's just been a wild ride. I can only imagine. Like MLB Network, I was literally just reading a New York Post article about you that did a whole feature workup, which has to be crazy. Can you just put into words what this 2023 baseball season's been like for you?
Yes, I think it's been crazy, like you just mentioned. It's one of those things where I personally believe like you're working, and you're like, oh, I don't see any results. I don't know what's happening. Like I'm posting on TikTok, I'm doing all of this stuff. And then, like everyone says, it always just like hits you all at once. One post goes viral, Talking Yanks retweets it. The second I saw Talking Yanks retweeted it, my stomach like dropped. And they repost on everything. And then they followed me. And I said, oh, this is a lot. And then it was, yeah, the post reached out, MLB Network was reaching out, they were talking about it. So that was just crazy. But then you also have this moment like, oh my gosh, all of these people are talking about me at once right now, which is crazy. And I made a funny video when MLB Network put it up. So for those listening to the podcast, like I'm aspiring to be a reporter. Like that's always been like my long-term goal. And I said, I didn't really think that's how I would debut on MLB Network. I was thinking, maybe analyzing the Yankees, talking about baseball, not me literally gasping for air trying to run 10 miles, but I'll take what I can get. So it's just been absolutely insane, pretty very similar to how the baseball standings have been, is how I would describe my 2023 so far.
You're doing a lot better than the Yankees are. So
Yeah,
uh, we'll get into
definitely.
that a little bit more. I did want to go back though. So your TikTok account obviously is your biggest platform. How did you get started making content on there? Like what kind of content did you start making then? And then what are you most focused on making now?
Yeah, so I first started, it was last June, and I remember going on TikTok and I was seeing all of these people just posting and getting these really cool opportunities about sports. And I said, oh, all right, maybe I'll just give it a shot. And initially, I just did it like my original content was just storytelling. So I was just repurposing stuff like, oh, this is what happened in this game. This is what I think about this game. And it's so funny. I'm sure you do the same when you go back and you look at your content that you first posted. You literally cringe at yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is what I used to say. But that's how I got started on it. But I grew like pretty rapidly in a couple months. Then the off season hit, and everyone was like, all right, no, we're not following. We're not even going to engage with baseball content right now. And then it really started to pick up towards the end of spring training. Now, instead of storytelling, I do more skits where I dress up as the teams in Major League Baseball. And I kind of just recap what went on during the past week as best as I can and make it kind of comedic, funny, relatable. So that's primarily my content right now. I also have started this series called Baseball for Baddies. That's for people who don't know anything about baseball. So I'm just trying to like teach them some slang. And because I found that I have a large male audience, so I was like, all right, let me try and target the female audience a little bit more. So that's pretty much what I've been posting right now.
I think you also, do you think you call it on your bio? It's like Gen Z's TikTok, baseball TikTok reporter.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they don't have any like young reporters. So I said, no, that's how I'll put it in.
I like that though. There is obviously a market and a need for that kind of content for younger baseball fans, or people that, baseball is obviously an older sport. It's a lot of older people getting mad about Wander Franco flipping the ball up before he throws it. But for the people that are younger and are cool with that kind of stuff, like I feel like you're creating content that fills a need. And obviously you've seen the numbers from that stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny you said that. I remember I was talking to one of my friends who works for Overtime, and they said, we always just focus on like that Gen Z audience. And we've all seen Overtime has just been massive. They've grown incredibly. And I think it's because they specifically target a younger audience. They're not looking for the fans that are still watching the Yankees on cable. They're looking for the young generation from like 15 and under, I think they said, which is crazy. So I do think there's a need for that. And people's attention spans are just shorter. Like they're not going to read a full article. They'd rather just me recap it in 30 seconds, if that makes sense.
Do you think that the efforts that baseball's done to get younger and to try to grow the game with the younger audience, have you seen kind of like positive effects from that? Do you agree with what they've been doing to try to reach the younger market?
I do. Like, I think the creator class is a good start. I think that was useful to try and have content creators make baseball content. I haven't seen much of it this year, but it's still early on in the season. But I know, like, their first creator class, there was like Jackson Olsen, Caitlin Hendricks. Like, I thought they did an outstanding job with making baseball funny. And like, they were doing like trending sounds with players on the team. And I just thought, oh, this is great. This is like showing, this is humanizing the athletes, which is what I'm very passionate about. So I thought they have been doing a great job. I think there is a lot more room to grow though as well.
That's funny you mentioned the creator class. I know, was it Caleb Green? I've known him a little bit. He does like MLB Network breakdown analyst skits, and there is ways to make funny baseball content and like what you've been doing on TikTok, which is just awesome. But your background, you mentioned it was more storytelling driven. Your background in media though, that was Yes Network.
Yes, yes. I graduated college in 2021. I immediately started 2 weeks after I graduated.
Oh wow! As a Yankees fan, somebody who grew up in the New York area, how crazy of an experience was that to be like, yeah, I work for the Yes Network.
Insane. I remember it didn't really hit me until about a month into working there, but I learned so much. Yes is very special, and I don't think a lot of people give them a lot of credit for this, is that they're a very small network. Like, there's very few employees compared to ESPN, MLB Network, places like that. And I think that they put on an excellent production. Like, they have an amazing game. I know people, I mean, people were literally tweeting like in the postseason, like, no shade to Fox or anything, but they're like, oh, we miss like the Yes Network replays and, Michael K. Like, I just think that they do a really great job with the resources that they're given. And they're fairly new. I think they're 27 years old now. So they've done an amazing job. But yeah, it was a crazy experience. I absolutely loved working there.
How did you take that your time working for Yes and that whole experience to kind of like fuel what you're doing now?
Yeah, so it's actually funny. I was having a conversation with one of my bosses there at the time, and I said, I'm trying to be on the air. Like, that's kind of like my long-term goal. I understand that, like, I'm very young, and like I'm not telling you to put me next to Jack Curry on the desk. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I kind of just want some insight. Like, what do you think? And they said, typically it's like going to like a smaller market in the middle of nowhere and being a sports reporter, which I kind of took that and said, I feel like I can do it a different way. Like, back then, that traditional route, there was no social media, there was no digital content, there was no podcast. So, of course, that would be the traditional way. That's the only way you're going to get on television. But now we have virtual podcasts, we have streaming, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have so many different ways that you can have your voice heard. And I was talking to one of the younger colleagues, and she said, what, why don't you just try and do your own thing through it? Like, you've taken so many tools that you've learned here. Like, I'm very good at finding stats. Like, I know how to like figure out baseball research and stuff like that. So I utilize that a lot with my content as well.
I love that. I've done basically the same thing. I started in TV news doing social media, and I'm like, hey, I would like to be in front of the camera at some point.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you're right. There's so many different ways to get airtime, to get your voice out there, where you don't have to necessarily go to the middle of nowhere and for 3 years make 30 grand a year and freeze your ass off somewhere in like North Dakota covering
It's so
girls
true.
JV, whatever. Like, you don't have to do that now,
Yeah.
which is, it makes a lot of older people upset. The ones that actually had to go grind it out and do that. They're like, these kids nowadays with their TikToks, but it's absolutely, you're crushing it. You're going to be, like the talent level that you have now is like going to take you, the sky's the limit, because
Thank you.
it's so great. We had Tricia Whitaker on this podcast, I think before the season started, and I know you're a gigantic fan of hers. She's the best in the biz. What do you like about the way she goes about her work?
Yes. That's actually how I found you guys to start, because I saw that clip that I talked about. I literally talked about it to the New York Post. I wish they put the exact clip in it. I was so mad, but that was my favorite thing in the world. What I really drew me to Trisha is that she talks about humanizing athletes and not putting words in their mouth when she asks them questions. And that is something that has really frustrated me as a viewer, is when you have these reporters, not always, but sometimes just like completely disrespect the athlete. And I understand you want clickbait and you want breaking news. And I understand that the industry has to be cutthroat to an extent. But sometimes I'm sitting there going like, did you really just ask him that? Like, what if he was going to have a completely different response? And Tricia, what's amazing about her is she literally said on your podcast, you don't want to sensationalize it. Like, let them tell you how they're feeling. So I think she's amazing.
She's the master of like those post game. You have 60 seconds with a baseball player who, again, baseball players don't like to talk.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that by now, but
Yeah.
by and large, these guys are just kind of like reserved and kind of shy. But she gets a minute and she'll get like 3 or 4 hard hitting, to the point, concise questions in there. And every time I'll stop and watch it on Twitter, like when I think it's Bally Sports Razor tweeted out, I'm like, oh, dang. Yeah. She got Josh Lowe to do 5 things in a minute and they're all awesome.
Yes.
She's the GOAT. She's the best. Do you have any other role models in sports or people whose content you try to learn stuff from?
Yeah. So this is a little bit more untraditional. So all the skits that I do on TikTok, which is what I enjoy doing the most, they just take the most time. Is Annie Agar is actually how I got that inspiration from. She does all skits with NFL. I'm trying one day I will get to the level as her, but she is brilliant. I think she is so well versed in the NFL and just the comedic relief that she can bring to it. And what I love about her is that she does it to a point where she doesn't disrespect the athlete or disrespect the team. Like, it's funny, but it's not rude, if that makes sense. Because I'm sure you've seen there's been a lot of creators on TikTok that also post funny MLB content, but there's like a line you don't cross, in my opinion, as well. And like, you want to be respectful. And I think Annie does an outstanding job and she's funny about it. And like, she gets the refs involved and she's very consistent with it. So I do love her as well.
What's your creative process like when you're trying to come up with ideas for either trying to be funny or trying to, break down things as more of like a reporter standpoint? Like when you're trying to think of video ideas, can you walk me through your creative process?
Yes. So I typically spend about an hour and a half on Twitter, just constantly retweeting things or taking pictures and screenshots. It's very messy, but the way I go about posting and what I do post is very strategic. So I try my best not to give my opinion on TikTok, which is not standard, but in my view, I don't think that I'm well versed enough and have enough experience with baseball and reporting and talking to athletes and understanding the media to really give my opinion. So when I'm telling a story, I try and make it funny. The skits are absolutely off the top of my head. I'll just say that right now. Like, all the skits are off the top of my head. I don't write those out. That's just how I go about those. But any storytelling type, I try and just relay what happened in the game. And sometimes I'll say, like, if I was a reporter, these are the questions that I would have asked. So those I will write down. I'll like write down those reporter questions.
That's fascinating though. So you've never felt inclined to give a take, or there's obviously, everybody has takes. Like I just saw a guy on TikTok say that Max Scherzer is a definite cheater, and I'm like, well, that's a take. I mean, he's putting it out there, but to hear you say I'm not big into that kind of content. Why is that?
Yeah, sometimes I do. If it's the Yankees, I'll give like a short take. But you know what it was? One time, I like, without going into like super specific detail, one time I did give my opinion on a video and I kind of got some like backlash because I'm not like a well established reporter. So I kind of said, all right, like, I don't want to come across as that type of person on social media, which is why I took a step back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You'd rather present the news as opposed to, be an analyst or, hop on and talk about what you think happened. That's interesting to hear.
Yeah. I think long term, I would love to be an analyst. You know what it is? I feel like with social media, and I'm sure you've recognized this as well, I've just seen a lot of people take things out of context and take one bit and repost it, stitch it, and then just go on a rant and then gets a million likes. And it's tough because, like, I think Jack Curry can bash the Yankees, Michael Kay can bash the Yankees, but if I were to sit there and bash the Yankees, they would say, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you don't even work for the Yankees, if that makes sense.
How have you navigated? I mean, obviously, women in sports, they have a harder time with men on social media trying to mansplain or talk down to them when it comes to that kind of stuff. How have you kind of navigated that with your personal TikTok stuff?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, sometimes you'll get some comments that just say, like, baseball women make me angry. Or, you know what I have noticed? I did a video where I explained the infield fly rule. For some reason, they found like every single thing that I missed in the infield fly rule. Like I think there was one thing I missed that everyone had to point out, and it was that you can't bunt a pop-up. And I was like, how many people are bunting a pop-up? Like, of course you can't, that's not going to be an infield fly rule. Of course it can't be a bunt. And I remember sitting there going like, I wonder if a man were to explain this, if they would have found 800 things that they could nitpick about the video. That's the thing that you kind of just like always have to be on your toes, because if you do get one thing wrong, you're just going to get reprimanded in the comments.
I've been watching baseball my whole life. I couldn't explain the infield fly rule if
Right?
at all.
It's like it's not that easy to explain. And people are like, "Oh, she did like a decent job, but you missed this, and this." I'm like, "Okay."
This baseball is the ultimate sport where the rules don't make any sense and you have to like go through and there's like 10 paragraphs for everything.
Right?
And you just have to accept that, yeah, there's gonna be like, I don't know what just happened.
No.
Um, that's I'm sorry to hear that that's still a thing going on, but yeah, it always bothers me when you see that kind of stuff in the comments where it's just a bunch of like old dudes with wraparound sunglasses on trying to stick it to whoever's creating content. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
But as you kind of like grow your following on TikTok and you're getting all these awesome views and creating a small community there, like what are some other goals that you have throughout the rest of the season?
Yeah. So in the coming months, I do want to start a podcast, but I want it to be geared towards very kind of similar to what you guys do as well, like interviewing athletes and expanding the game that way. Because I don't think for some reason, I mean, you mentioned this too, like baseball players don't really like to talk. Like they don't, baseball players, we don't really like hear from them that much. Like there's no social media geared to their off season. Like that is what I'd love to do. I'd love to do like a documentary on baseball players during the off season, like what they do. Or I don't know if you saw this. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place with like my goals, but the Minnesota Twins, they just came out with this like behind the scenes documentary during the season, and they had Carlos Correa mic'd up in the clubhouse and he was giving a post-game speech. I said, this is brilliant. Like whoever came up with this is genius. Like that is the type of content that I think is the future of baseball. I would love nothing more to be in part of that because I'm very passionate about humanizing the athlete. So that's definitely like next step in content.
I love that. Yeah. And that's the same thing where I'd rather do an hour podcast of just like a really good interview with an athlete and just like getting to know them and asking them questions about their life and all that stuff. I find myself, I'm not as good as giving the hot takes as the people on TikTok will be quick to point out. I did one where I was like, Mike Trout shouldn't be mic'd up during the, you remember Sunday Night Baseball where they do the in-game mic'd up where they're asking questions, and these guys, again, they don't like to talk. And I did a minute rant. I was like, we probably shouldn't be putting mics on these guys. They're trying to do their job, and get Carl Ravitch asking them weird questions. But that did not go over well.
Wait, what did the comments say? I'm so curious.
Oh, there was a lot of like the nerd glass emojis. They just called me a nerd. And they said it's fun and it grows the game. I'm like, in some cases, yeah. Like Mookie Betts jogging down a fly ball in spring training, sure. But
in spring training,
like
there's a time and a place.
It's hard to convey that. Yeah. But I mean, it gets the numbers, but also it gets you, the trade-off is you get called a nerd for a year straight. But
so funny.
I like that type of content. I like that line of thinking that you have. The thing that you do on TikTok so well that I think obviously is been pretty big for you is the run a mile for every run the Yankees score the night before if they win the game.
Yes, that has been deadly for me, but it does well on TikTok. People like it.
I guess my first question is, how are you able to talk so efficiently while running?
Okay, you know what? Thank you so much for that, because I was listening to one I did today and I was running. I'm like, I sound like I've never ran in my entire life like that. Like I feel like I'm panting because I look at the runners on TikTok who like will talk while they're running. And you would think that they're not even walking. You would think they're sitting down. That is how composed they are when they're running. Meanwhile, I'm holding the phone. First, and they also hold the phone so gracefully. I'm like holding the phone. I'm also very short. Holding the phone. I'm panting. And I'm like, nobody's going to even understand what I'm saying. I'm trying to recap the Yankees game while I can't breathe because I'm 7 miles in because they decided to, score that many runs last night.
Go off. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fine. It does well. So I'm happy about it. And it's fun.
Videos are stable. I can understand what you're saying most of the time. So that's,
thank you.
I would call that a win. What's What's been your favorite part about making those? And just there's so many great positive reactions to those videos. And I think people actually like, if they're Yankees fans that follow you on TikTok, I think once they win the next day, they're like almost like they can't wait to see what the running TikTok will be the next day. So what's that been like? What's your favorite part of making all these?
Yes, actually, exactly what you just mentioned is when I post the video and people comment, say like, "Oh, I was watching it with my husband, or I was watching it with my friends last night," and I said, "Oh, that poor girl has to run tomorrow."
Yeah.
But a really cool part too was that I have like Red Sox fans in my comments saying like, "Oh, I'm going to do this for the Red Sox," and they're tagging me in their running videos, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." Like maybe we could all just become runners and drop dead by the end of the season, unless we're, the Oakland A's. But other than that, it's cool. It's cool seeing other fans too, like support a Yankees fan, because I feel like that's kind of hard to come by.
I think you might be the most likable Yankees fan on the internet. I don't know, because some of them are tough. It's a tough follow, but
Yeah.
have you considered expanding and making this like a virtual run club of sorts, having all 29 other teams join in on the fun?
Oh, I haven't, but that's actually a good idea. Maybe I will do that. I was gonna pick a different team every month, but then I said, "Oh no, that's kind of mean to the Yankees. They're gonna be like, wow, you abandoned us because we can't score any runs." But that is kind of cool. Maybe I will do the virtual run club. I do want to try, especially this month. Mental Health Awareness Month is in May, so I'm trying to find like an organization to kind of donate uh, money to for like every mile that I run this month, something that supports mental health. But I have to do a little bit more research for that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
thanks.
that's you're like, what do you have in your running playlist? Because sometimes if the Yankees go off, you have to do a half marathon. Like, what's keeping you sane for an hour plus?
Okay, this actually might get me canceled on social media. I listen to Glee, like musical theaters. Like I listen to like the Wicked playlist. You're like Justin's like trying not to laugh. Like literally the Wicked playlist, Glee, and then I listen to some like pop. But it's mostly like Defying Gravity. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's kind of embarrassing, but that's what I like to run to.
That's not even remotely the oddest thing. I have a friend that she does what you do. She'll listen to like musical theater stuff, but then she'll listen to true crime podcasts because she said it freaks her out and that it makes her run faster because she feels like there's somebody chasing her.
Oh
So
my gosh, I might need to try that. But that's kind of genius.
just like Serial, yeah.
Wait, but that is actually kind of really weird though.
it's,
I listen to
it's all
true
that every day.
crime.
Yeah, true crime. I haven't tried it yet,
You should.
but I probably won't. But the idea is there. I am an aspiring runner myself. I'm doing my first 10K in a couple weeks.
Oh,
Um,
love.
thank you. Yeah, if this turns into something, I don't know. I have too many teams. I claim too many favorite teams to do the whole if they win, do a mile after because I'm an
Right.
Orioles fan, a Nationals fan. I'm riding with the Buccos.
Oh my
I had to do a 30 miles every single day. We're not there yet.
What like in a World Series situation though, like who would you choose? Would it be
I
like
love
a coin flip?
I love all my children equally. Um, Dude, I don't play favorites.
Good answer.
I'm just gonna pray that the Orioles and Nationals won't be good at the same time ever again. Like
They
the Orioles
probably
are good
won't.
now and the Nationals aren't. So it's like I don't have to worry about this. This is it's a non like issue.
Yes, true.
It's
That's so
but
funny.
when they were good at the same time, it was tough because everybody was calling me a bandwagoner. I was like, I live in Maryland. It's kind of hard to do that. But I'll
I
bandwagon
can't
with the
be them.
Pirates. They need it.
The Pirates, do they need it though? Not right now. Maybe
Well,
during it's still early.
it is. It's May 4th when we're taping
Yeah,
this. So, yeah, we're taking applications for the Bucko bandwagon. You can raise the Jolly Roger and get a cool sword.
that's awesome. The
Um,
sword thing is cool. I feel like that's very cool.
I feel like a lot of teams are trying to do the home run celebration now. You had the Orioles Homer hose. I think I just
Yes.
saw somebody's doing like a weird mask thing. I don't know. Do you think that this is the home run celebrationification of baseball? Do you think it's gone too far?
I mean, it's very dramatic. Like, even I think what did the Padres do? Oh, I talked about it. The Padres were like using Buzz Lightyear as a pinata. That wasn't really a home run celebration, but they get really into it as well. I think it's kind of fun. I think it keeps the younger fans engaged. Like, I really like the Orioles one. That one's pretty cool.
I think they were really what set this whole trend off because every team now after that, like the Blue Jays used to have that weird suit jacket, which I'm sure
Yes.
they never dry
They put
cleaned.
the jacket.
Um, and then the Nationals did like they put like a powdered wig on. I was like, guys,
No. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
just chill out. But I do think that all like the team's like social media managers are dying for those retweets and engagement. They're like, guys, just like do something fun. We'll tweet it.
I know. The Yankees will never. Like, I'm waiting for the day that they do some type of home run celebration. I feel like it's like against they can't do it.
Ooh, off topic, but also related to the Yankees because I want to talk about that next.
Okay.
Does it bother you when you see people wearing Yankees jerseys with the name on the back?
Yes. Very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I actually have one that my mom got me a couple years ago that has Jeter on the back. I said, "Mom, this is like disrespectful." She's a Mets fan in her defense, so like she doesn't really get it. But yes. Wait, why? What do you think? Do you think it's weird?
Yes, I think it's hilarious too. I'm in Orioles Twitter pretty deep, and then anytime we see a Yankees fan doing something off the wall, I'll be like, this guy definitely has a name on the back of his jersey.
That's literally how you insult a Yankees fan. Like, oh, you definitely have a name on the back of your jersey.
How
It's so
common are
true.
they? You go to a Yankees game, what percentage of jerseys have names on them?
70%. I'm not even kidding. I've been to actually a decent amount so far. Been to like 5 or 6. You see a lot of them. And like, okay, this is not trying to be stereotypical, but like it's always from people who actually look like they know baseball that have the name on the back of the jersey. And then it's like a young girl who like knows nothing that doesn't have the name on the back of the jersey. I'm like, wait, what is going on here?
That just blows my mind. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all the tradition and the prestige of being a Yankee and being a Yankees fan, and you see a guy, it's like, hey, it's Judge.
It's like, oh, really? 99? I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay, I had to ask about that because it's very funny on other teams' Twitter accounts just throwing shade at the Yankees fan base. Like, hey, all right,
So
number 2, Jeter jersey.
like no
It's great.
profile picture. It's like, who even are you?
Yes. Sticking with the Yankees though, their list of guys on the injured list right now, it's long, it's extensive. It has guys like Judge, Donaldson, Stanton. If you have another 20 minutes, I can list the rest of them. Do you think
Sure.
with the guys they have filling in right now, they can stay relevant enough until the roster gets healthy?
I think they can be okay. Like I don't think they're gonna go on a 12-game winning streak, but I think they can get, maybe above the Red Sox in the AL East. Like I think they can at least win a few series moving forward, but it's one of the things they were even talking about on the broadcast. Like now the pitchers feel so much pressure because they're saying like, well, the offense can't even score a run. So if I give up 2 runs, then we're going to lose this game. I was also talking about this. I forgot what I was on, or maybe it was a video. I was saying that like it's almost come down to like we went to the bench, we went to AAA, we went to like the bench, and there's just like no one else to go to. So, I mean, yesterday they said they think Bader will be fine. He collided in the outfield. Peraza rolled his ankle. I'm like, no, we can't afford any more people. There's like physically not bodies to get on the field. But I mean, when Judge comes back, it'll be okay. But everyone else, it's another couple weeks. So I think they can hold their own. I don't expect them to go on a tear, though.
I feel like this was the case last year too. It's like you're just praying to God Aaron Judge does something awesome every night because the rest of the guys in the lineup are hitting like under 200.
Yes.
And it's interesting now because you are having to go to guys that like I forgot Jake Bowers was even playing baseball and he was playing right field.
Yeah.
No offense to Jake Bowers, he has an awesome haircut, but
Yes.
it's a tough scene when the Yankees lineup is you have like the top 3 are recognizable and then the rest of it is we're trying.
Yes. Like it was the other day. I think I know the exact game you're talking about, but Bowers was in last night. But a couple days ago, it was like Hicks in left, IKF, who was a shortstop and a third baseman in center field, and then it wasn't Willie Calhoun, and Franchi Cordero in right field. And I'm going like, nothing against these guys, but like, what is going on here? Like,
It's not a traditional Yankees lineup. Yeah.
It's
Not the Bronx
very,
Bombers.
very untraditional. I mean, they have Rizzo now, DJ, and Glaber and Volpe. That's really going to have to, pull some weight. But that's 4 guys, you know? So it's been rough. It's been rough. We'll see. And they have the Rays this weekend, so fingers crossed.
Has Volpe, has he kind of endeared himself to the Yankees fan base now? I know he started rough. It was like 1 for 30 or something. He was in a horrific slump, but ever since then he's been pretty solid. And, I think Yankees fans might turn to him as like the next coming of, I don't know, local kid. Like he seems like he's like a really, really cool guy to root for.
Yes, yes. I think in true Yankee fan fashion, if you don't go 5 for 5 on opening day as the starting shortstop, they're like, oh, write him off. He sucks. He's awful. Like, guys, come on, really? Like, the kid's also like 20. Oh, his birthday was last week. He's 23 years old. 23 years old, and he's the starting shortstop for the New York Yankees. Like, can you cut the kid a break? But he actually has been very well in the last, I think his stretch has been last 16 games now. He's been doing a lot better. So now the fans love him. I mean, he does that cool thing where he kisses the Yankee logo when they do the roll call. He did get his first roll call at Yankee Stadium where he like came out, everyone stood up, clapped for him. So I think that they are coming around, but yes, they were very hesitant at first.
Yeah, I'm just surprised you had his birthday like remembered off the top of the head as quickly as you did. I'm like,
I remember
cool.
Michael said it on the broadcast when I was watching the game. It was like he said, "Oh, Judge's birthday's today, and then Volpe's is in a couple days. They're both like April babies." I have a weird memory like that.
Yeah, no, I forget my mom's birthday sometimes, so it's fine.
Just have the whole roster's birthdays on the back burner.
Yeah, you got the 1 through 9 in the lineup. Like, hey, Jake Bowers, May 15th, so coming up. It's like, all right.
Oh gosh, so funny.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from the official sponsor of Not For Long Media and the Breaking Bats podcast, the Original Fudge Kitchen. It is a staple of the Jersey Shore with 6 locations in Cape May, Wildwood, North Wildwood, Stone Harbor, and Ocean City. The Original Fudge Kitchen makes all of their fudge in store, guaranteeing a delicious product, so stop by and let them know that Not For Long Media and Breaking Bats sent you. Check them out online at fudgekitchens.com as they are shipping fudge and sweet treats all across the country. Now back to the episode. Who are some of the people that have drawn the most ire from Yankees fans? Who have been some of the guys that they've been taking it out on? It could be this year. I know last year there's a bunch of them, but who do you think is catching the most flack right now on the Yankees?
Aaron Hicks. Definitely Aaron Hicks. They're very angry. I do understand where they're coming from. The problem is Hicks used to be great. Like he gave the Yankees so many incredible moments, walk-off home runs, walk-off grand slams, game-tying hits. It's just he hasn't been able to stay consistent in, I think, 3 years now. And I think people are very frustrated. And it also seems that there is a lack of urgency when he's playing the outfield. And you almost have to like cross your fingers when the ball is hit there. But yes, he's getting a lot of hate. IKF, who used to be, I think, every Yankee fan's worst enemy, like I think they hated IKF more than Mets fans, which I don't know why, is actually coming up. Everyone likes him now as the utility guy. He's going to run. He's going to play center field. He's going to play third when they need him to play third. He was in right field yesterday. He's just going to go everywhere. He's going to be the utility guy. So he has been, left field yesterday. Bowers was in right. Played left field yesterday. I think it was his first start in left. So he has been the guy that people are now warming up to. But Hicks is definitely getting the brunt of it because Donaldson is still on the IL. When Donaldson comes back, he's going to get patronized. So it's going to be tough.
I think Donaldson, if he was healthy right now, he would be bearing that cross of getting screamed at by Yankees fans all game. Because I feel like every year, last year too, when he was hitting 200 the entire time, and it was just everybody was hating on him. Yes. But he's the bringer of rain, so it's like, hey, why not?
Yeah. But do you know the roll call that they do in Yankee Stadium when they all like yell there? Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Learn something new. Okay.
Please tell me.
So what they do is every game they'll yell, they'll be like, Rizzo, Rizzo. And then but they'll do it until he turns around. So he'll turn around and like wave to the fans, like they'll do something. So for Hicks, what they've been doing now is they'll say like, Aaron Hicks sucks. So now he's not even acknowledging the fans. Like every player on the field acknowledges the fans. They say like, thank you to the bleachers. Like, thank you for acknowledging me. Hicks is now just he's not even acknowledged them. So it's been tough for him.
I feel like I saw a video about that. Okay. Yeah, yes. I think Bader turned around and they couldn't get Hicks to turn around. It's like, yeah, yes. I mean, why would he? Why would I acknowledge?
I acknowledge
this? Yeah. Hey guys, thank you. What about Carlos Rodon? he is still on the injured list. Has that been a tough thing? Do you think Yankees fans are starting to turn on him or will turn on him if they haven't already? Just because like he's pain free, but he just something doesn't feel right. I think Jared Carrabis said the vibes were off, so he's just not coming back. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What's that been like with him waiting for him to come to the Yankees so far?
Yeah. So everyone was very excited about Rodon. Fun fact, I actually worked his press conference when I was still at Yes. That was so cool. So I got to like talk to him. He was cool. Everyone was really excited, amped up, great. But the problem is exactly what you just said. The article that just came out that said he's not in pain. They don't see anything like on the MRIs, like they don't see anything wrong, but like his back doesn't feel right. So I think in Yankees fans' eyes, they're saying, like, what do you mean it doesn't feel right? Like, what doesn't feel right about his back? If he's not in pain, why isn't he pitching? You know what I mean? And like the fact that they can't even give like a definite timetable as well is what's also frustrating Yankee fans. I don't even know what is going on. And in my personal opinion, if it's like a mental health thing or if it's like something related, like I think you can just like come out and I think we've grown, like you can come out and say that, but I think the frustration is coming from the fact that they're not getting like a definite answer on what's going on. And he's supposed to come in and be the number 2 pitcher and we don't even know when he's going to come back. And we currently have like one starter that we were counting, and Herman too, that we were counting on this year. So
Yeah,
it's tough.
Garrett Cole's pitching his heart out every single night. He's looking like the AL Cy Young, but you're right. They did just go out and spend all that money. And I read that article too, where it's like, I think it's like mechanically, it's just, something's not right or something, but it's like, yeah, no, I feel totally fine. It's a weird report. Like if I read that my big starting pitcher was just like, not for it that day or something like, not today. Be like, wait, what?
Right?
So
And crazy. Yeah. And like the journalist in me was like, why didn't the media press this further and say like, okay, I'm sorry, if there's nothing wrong with his back, if he's not injured, he's not in pain. Like I would have just came out and said, Boone, why isn't he pitching? That doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't know, the mechanics aren't right. Weird stuff.
I have also been seeing the fire Aaron Boone chants have been getting louder and louder. I mean, they were there last year too, but then they gave him an extension. Do you foresee that coming to a head at some point this year? He's making questionable decisions. I think didn't he pull a starter out in the 9th the other night when he was pitching? So it's just making little head scratching moves. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he's going anywhere. Despite Yankee fans want for him to. I don't agree with some of the decisions that he makes, but I mean, at the end of the day, like he's not, I know he's not going anywhere. You have to just respect him. And I talked about this a little bit on my page, but in Cashman's eyes and in Hal Steinbrenner's eyes, they're like, we went to the ALCS last year. So we did everything we could. Like we were the last 4 teams in Major League Baseball. So they think that it's a success. Yankee fans are like, no, it's World Series or die, like World Series or bust, as the late George Steinbrenner used to say. But I don't think Boone is going anywhere. I didn't agree with that decision to take Herman out. But again, I'm not the manager. But I don't think he's going anywhere.
I feel like the tone from Brian Cashman on all these things, whenever he's pressed, is like, hey guys, we're doing the best we can. It's like, hey, last year your trade deadline wasn't great. Looking back, what do you think about it? We tried.
We tried. We did the best we can. We're always looking. We're always looking for moves. I'm like, are we going to make any moves? Or are we just looking? We're just shopping around.
That's pretty much every Brian Cashman press conference where he's in the dugout with all the little mics pressed against, like, hey guys, we're doing the best we can. We're trying.
I don't know what else you want us to do. We're doing everything we can.
Well, if somebody's earnestly trying, can you really be mad at them?
No. And like, people really get on Cashman, and I understand, because I think it's because of the prior management and they're used to that hardcore, like, no, I will be Steve Cohen. I will spend every single dime that I have and I will go out and I will put the best talent on the field. That's what they're used to. And I think they now have a different way that the Yankees go about things. They said this offseason, we're not done yet after they signed Carlos Rodon, but they were done. Like they didn't sign a left fielder like everyone was hoping for. They lost Benintendi. They didn't sign the left fielder. So it's like almost like they make these promises to, and they like give you little spurts of information. Like, no, we're not done. Like, no, we're going to go out and get a pitcher. No, we're going to go to get another reliever. But then it doesn't happen. So I think that's what frustrates Yankee fans.
That's very well put. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like, hey guys, well, we're like, we got you Aaron Judge, so that's
Yeah.
that should quiet all the people clamoring for more people. Yeah, the not getting an extra corner outfielder. I was reading about that too. They were like, was kind of questioning that. Looking back, it's like, hey, maybe what if we just traded for one or signed one?
Yeah.
Willie
Will-
Calhoun. Yeah,
Willie Calhoun will get Jake Bowers. Everything's fine.
yeah.
Franchi Cordero. Just put him out
Franchi
there.
Cordero. You guys called him the next Babe Ruth for the first week. So it looked like it worked for about a week there.
Oh my gosh. So that's like that's how funny Yankee fans are. They get so excited and then they're like, he sucks. Never put Franchi Cordero in again. I'm like, wait, you guys were raving about him last week. What happened? Like at least Cubs fans, like I was saying this too, like they like live and die. They're like, oh no, I'm gonna live and die with my players. Yankee fans are like, no, I'll write you off the second you don't do what I want you to do.
It's interesting hearing like how each fan base views like their team and the future of it. Like, I was talking to a Guardians fan on here last week, and she was telling me about like she's so locked in to all of the prospects. She's top 30 prospect like ranking out. Like she knows
Right.
everybody that's coming up. Like she's like, I think most Guardians fans are like that. Or how would you classify Yankees fans? Are they a little more reactionary? Do they go in depth with the knowledge of the team? Like, how does that work with Yankee fans?
They're very passionate is the best way I would describe a Yankee fan. Like they like live and die with the New York Yankees. Like they're like, this is my team, but they also simultaneously get very angry, but never at like the players. They get mad more at like management upstairs. They're not so much like going into depth. Like everyone knew about Anthony Volpe coming up. Like they'll go with like few top prospects, definitely not in depth for like 30 top prospects. Like no way. Like nobody knows about like Austin Wells or like everyone else in the minor leagues that can come up in a few years. But they, yes, they're very passionate, but they're also hard to please. Like I remember we saw last year, Aaron Judge breaks the American League home run record. Everyone's like, yes, Aaron Judge, we love you. Thank you. 62, let's go. Aaron Judge is hitting like 176 in the playoffs. He's getting booed. They're booing him at Yankee Stadium. I'm like, guys, wait, whoa. Let's just time out. He just broke the AL home run record. Like, don't you think, let's put yourself in his position for a second. The whole year, everyone's going, are you gonna break it? Are you gonna break it? Now he's like, oh yes, I broke it. Oh, I have to go play in the playoffs now. Like now I have more work to do. Like you don't think he's like mentally exhausted? Nope, we're gonna boo him at Yankee Stadium. So it's like if you don't perform, they write you off because they're so passionate.
You're the most rational, level-headed fan of the New York Yankees I think ever. I think
I try.
that what a breakdown. That was incredible. I think
Thanks.
there's definitely a market for people that can like be the liaison between Yankees fans and like rational baseball fans. It's like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to tell it to you straight, and I'm not going to have like slick back hair and a gold chain on and a jersey with the name on the back. I think
exactly.
there's something here.
Yes. I should have went into PR. Do you see how good I am at just like defending the Yankees?
Oh, you could spin zone your way out of anything. Yeah.
I could spin this so many ways.
Oh, absolutely. You could take the Yankees could be on like a 10-game losing streak, and you'd come on here and give me 5 solid minutes about why things aren't as bad.
So I did this research, and did you know that the 1998 team was also on a 10-game losing streak?
Like, oh, damn. Yeah, you're right. All right. I feel a little bit better now.
That's my goal.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to bring that.
Yes. Please do that on TikTok. That's a million views easy.
Yeah.
I had a couple last things going around the league, just like superlatives, maybe if you want to call them that. Of just like, I feel like you're pretty locked in on everything else, in addition to being the most level-headed, rational Yankees fan on TikTok. The most disappointing team in baseball, besides the Yankees, who would you say it is in this moment?
The Cardinals. Definitely the Cardinals. I'm like, what?
Yep.
What the heck? What? I had them at the top. Like I was like, oh yeah, like first or second, easy in the Central. And now I'm like, what the heck what are you guys doing? And so many promising people to look forward to on the Cardinals. And now it's just like a nightmare. And I feel like they are in a very dark hole right now. But who is your team?
That was my team.
Was it
I had
yours
written
too?
down
The Cardinals.
10 and 21, and they're 10.5 games out of first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Central, no offense. I know this is where I'm not going to be a level-headed Yankee fan, but like it's not the AL East. It's not one of the best divisions in Major League. What are you doing as being dead last? Like, I don't know. That's my most disappointing team.
Pirates are eating their lunch. Yeah, I was looking at the Cardinals, just like checking out their baseball reference because admittedly I haven't tuned in to see a lot of their games. Their starting rotation is the worst thing I've ever seen. Their ERA is 5 as a staff.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, all right, well, they have Arenado and Goldschmidt. It's like Goldschmidt's hitting, but Arenado's striking out twice as much as he did last year. So,
horrible.
Pirates are gonna win that division this year. Book it.
Pirates are cruising. They might. I mean, I think that would be really cool if they did. Honestly, like, good for Pirates fans. They deserve it.
Absolutely, yeah. Who is your most surprising team in baseball?
Ooh, surprising. Okay, I'll give you like kind of back and forth. Surprising was Dodgers in the beginning, but now I'm kind of like, oh, surprising in a good way because now they're just rolling. Like now they're doing really well, but they kind of had that like shaky start, but now I think that they're kind of getting back on track, like, putting 13 runs against the Phillies. I mean, insanity, especially with the team like that. But yeah, so surprising, like at first I was like, what are you guys doing? What's going on here? And now
Hey, what's up?
they're
Yeah.
surprising bouncing back. What about you?
Mine is surprising in a good way. It's the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knew that the Rays would be good. They've been to the playoffs, I feel like, every year for the last like 5 years, but 13 wins in a row to start the season it's unheard of. Like, they have one of the best offenses. I think they have the best batting average in baseball right now. And then last year in the playoffs, they couldn't buy or run. So It's like to see this 180 and it just looks like they're having so much fun. And yeah, it really did come down to, I think, health and like, I don't know. They're playing loose and their pitching they have a staff of Cy Youngs. And then there's people that come up from AAA like Taj Bradley. So
Yes. And I think they lead in runs too, I think, as well, because they're just like mashing. Like against the White Sox, I'm like, what? Coming back like that? Like, I don't know. They're just, and I think I love that you pointed out, like, they just look like they're having so much fun. They're just like enjoying themselves the entire time.
It's so much fun to watch. As a Yankees fan, though, doesn't Tampa like owns the Yankees basically, right? They don't they have a lot of success every time they play you guys?
I feel like it's more split. But this year should be tough. I think last year it was definitely more Yankees geared, but in the past it's like I think they have like 60-40 that way towards
Okay.
Tampa.
It's a tough series whenever you guys play Tampa. It's a
Yes.
a lot of fun to watch too. I think my second most surprising, but like I knew they'd be good was Pittsburgh.
I
But
was
like,
I was shocked. I was shocked at
yeah,
Pittsburgh. I did not think they would be good. I was making jokes. I'm like, oh, poor Brian Reynolds. He's like locked to the poor Pittsburgh Pirates. They're holding him hostage. And now I'm like, oh, made the right decision. Good job, Brian Reynolds.
there was a meme going around when he was like demanding or when they first offered him an extension. It was like, the Atlanta Braves signing somebody for like 6 years and 100 million, and they're like, yes, absolutely. And it's like the Pirates trying to give that to Brian Reynolds, and he was like running away.
It's so true because he was literally going to the media going, I have asked to be traded. Yes, I have made it abundantly clear. I'm like, oh my gosh, jeez.
It's all part of the negotiation.
Yes. Do you think they lowballed him though? I don't think they did.
I
It's
think
100 million, right?
yeah, I think it's a little over 100, but it's like 8 years or something too, which is awesome.
Yes.
I don't think they lowball them. I think for that franchise, like for a team that never spends money and doesn't lock their players up, to have him be the guy, yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out.
Yeah, I agree. I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying like, oh, they totally lowballed him. Like, I completely disagree.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna give 200 million to Brian Reynolds. Like, he's a great outfit. I think the Yankees even tried to trade for him at some point.
Yes, they did. Last trade deadline.
Yeah, Pirates stuck with him, and now they have like Brian Hayes locked up, Reynolds locked up, like all these, like O'Neal Cruz is going to come back. It's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. Good time to be a Pirates fan.
It is a very good time to be a Pirates fan, and we are still accepting applications for if you just want to, like, they lost today, but they won't lose tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I have to live or die with my Yanks, but it's all right.
If you did had to add a second team to that rotation of steady watching, keeping up with, is there another team that you've had your eye on?
Baltimore Orioles.
Yes.
You're like, yes, this is great. I'm mesmerized by Adley Rushman. I think his stats are absolutely insane. I was listening to Flippin' Bats podcast today with Ben Verlander. I like his stuff. Love-hate relationship. But he was giving me all the stats about Adley. I was 300, and everything. He's like currently the best catcher in Major League Baseball, 25 years old, and he's completely turned that Orioles organization around. Like 2 years ago, people were going, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna go play the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah, they're absolutely awful." And now it's like, "Oh, we got to go play the Orioles." So just him alone, and I also just love his presence, like him, like taking in the entire field, like when he made that opening day start, like everything about him and everything that he's doing. I think the Orioles can definitely make a run this year. I know it might be like a hot take, but I do.
I don't think it's a hot take at all.
Right?
83 wins last year. Yeah, I mean, what he does, he gives the pitchers a hug at the end of every game. He's just
Yeah.
fun. He's like a golden retriever. I feel like it's like, yeah, easy guy to root for, and I feel like the teammates love him.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh, yeah.
every guy we have on that's associated or has played with the Orioles, even in the minor leagues, I was like, hey, what's it like playing with Adley? And across the board, it's universal. Like, he is the best person I have ever met.
Oh, that's so nice.
He's just a great dude. Great. Yeah. He's very funny on TikTok too. So,
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know he was on TikTok.
oh, he does like lip dub syncs or whatever you want to call him. Like,
Wait, that's
he's
so
very,
funny.
very funny on social media. So highly recommend. Like he did one, like he had a bunch of like guys in spring training. They were like singing along to something. And it was like,
Yes.
it was great. So,
Yeah, the
total
Orioles social
package.
media team was great. They did so many great things in spring training. I was actually applied to be an in-game host for the Orioles this year. I didn't get it, but I was like, oh my gosh, this social media team looks so fun. They're making their players do all of these things.
I think they've taken like, because most social media teams or like managers for sports teams, they'll do like you get the little tiny mic and you have them like what is a hot dog a sandwich, and they'll like ask them, and then that's like, oh, that's a cool video. But then the Orioles are just like, they'll have the players be the ones asking them the questions with the mics. So much better.
Yes, I'm like, this is phenomenal. Also, wait, because we're sitting on social media. If you look at the Tampa Bay Rays, whoever is running their Twitter, they come up with the best captions. I have tweeted them like 12 times. I'm like, who is running this? Because they deserve like an Oscar for the things that they are saying. It is literally so good. I love seeing the creativity that they do with the teams on social media. It's been phenomenal to watch.
I think you're right. I think I have seen the Rays Twitter person,
Yeah.
because like it's a small Twitter following. They're not. I bet you if you had to rank like the top 30 baseball teams in terms of Twitter following, they'd probably be like dead last.
Oh, for sure.
They have like a couple 100,000, if that. But
Yeah.
it is that's just hard in general. I feel like to find Rays fans, like regardless if they're on Twitter or not. Like it's hard to fill the trop, and it's hard to get Twitter followers, I feel like.
Yeah, there's not many fans, but I mean, maybe this year, maybe if they win it this year, they'll get a whole new fan base. Who knows?
I think they took the tarps off of the upper deck at the trop. So I
Oh my
think
God.
I read that correctly. So hey, we're gonna get more than 10 grand in there every night. So
That's good. Fingers, that's
look out.
good. Good for them. Be on the lookout.
I've seen you've done some interview stuff in the past, like you've mentioned storytelling. Which player would be your dream interview? Like, what current player was your dream interview?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think I'm gonna go with Adley Rushman. If I had to pick anyone in Major League Baseball, or oh my gosh, I would love to interview Juan Soto too. So it's tough. I think I'm gonna go Adley. Anyone on the Yankees, I would want to interview Volpe. Yes, final answer.
Yeah.
Okay, Rushman, and then if I Yankee Volpe. What about you? It's tough.
Soto. I love Soto.
Yeah.
Have you seen those guys on TikTok? It's like they're Bat Boys Baseball.
Bat Boys
I think
Baseball. Yeah.
where they just get the most access of any like people I've ever seen. They're on the field at everything.
Right? I'm like, how are you guys getting on the field for this? It's insane.
Most well connected with sports teams PR. It's just like you'll look at it, it's like, hey, we're just chilling with Mike Trout. It's like,
Yes. Like
no words.
always like the best, like the greatest players too. I'm like, how is this happening? How are you sitting on the field right now? And they're independent. So I'm like, how did you
Yeah.
even get media passes to get onto the field? Crazy.
They have to like get in with these guys in the minors, and then just like know
Yeah.
like the teams through the minors, and then just like, hey, we took your prospect, this guy, and he was really cool. Can we go? Like it's insane. So yeah, just throw them a follow if you haven't already. I think it's at Bat Boys Baseball.
Yes, I do follow them. I
They'll
love them. They're awesome.
they'll like this. But yeah, it's interesting seeing like some guys are more animated than others whenever you stick a mic in front of them. I think Michael Chavis I think he's on the Nats now, but he's on the Pirates, like utility guy. Like he's always a funny one.
Yes.
There's some guys that just have personality. It's trying to find them and then get them to be more comfortable talking is the hard part.
Yes, like Garrett Cole, if you watch any of Garrett Cole's, he is hysterical. No, he's like sometimes funny with if you can like warm up to him, he can be comedic. Like if it's like a post-game interview, he's being like, "Oh, yes, I threw a slider to him and it was 0-2 and then he fouled it off and then I threw a curveball." Like he's very straightforward, but if you get him off, he's actually kind of funny. So I kind of want them to, if they see this, I kind of want them to try and find Garrett Cole because I think that would be a good one.
Garrett Cole in his element, maybe. I'm just thinking my brain just thinks in old tweets, and I'll throw another Carabas one out there where I think he'll tweet the clip of Garrett Cole trying to do a pump up speech, and it's like the least enthusiastic. Like, let's just go do it or something. It's something.
Yeah,
like that.
guys. It was like, all right, yeah, guys. So, yeah, but yeah,
let's go do it.
I love.
That's
Cole,
what I
though.
thought of.
Yes, yes. It's tough, but like if you literally look up on Twitter, Garrett Cole funny moments, he says like he is really good like one-liners. Like he said last year, he was like, "Oh yeah, we got, waxed in the ALCS, and it never feels good to get waxed, whether you're on the baseball field or at the salon." And all the reporters are sitting there going, "Garrett, what? Like where did that come from?" Yeah, so he does have like funny one-lines.
I feel like that might be the case across a lot of baseball players where they have this like really dry, you're not sure if they're kidding or not sense of humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. And you're right. You do need an Adley Rutschman there to be the facilitator to get these guys to come out of their shell. Like have Ryan Mountcastle sing, "I'm coming with you." Yeah. It's just, you gotta have these guys to have somebody to warm up with, I think.
Yes. Completely agree.
Well, it's like this podcast. Like I do it with Brian O'Grady, who's still over in Korea right now, but
Crazy.
when he'd have like his friends on, having him be the guy to like start the interview off like, "Hey man, it's good to see you. It's been a little bit," like some stories of like stuff that they've talked about just to like get them to like warm up to the interview.
Yeah.
And then I'll come in, I'll be like, "Hey, I was reading about this, this, and this," and they'll talk about it. I think that's what they need. They just need a guy.
Yes. Like a mediator. Yes.
Yes. Because yeah, I don't know what sport do you think gives the best soundbite? It's got to be the NBA. I feel like NBA players are way more media soundbite savvy.
I think definitely, yeah, because I'm not gonna curse, but like they just don't care. Like they're like, I'm gonna say whatever I want. I think I don't know what it is about baseball. That's a really good point you brought up. They almost look very media trained. Like they're not gonna give you anything bad or something that you can use for clickbait. But NBA, it's left and right. I'm like, I can't even keep up. And then probably second, the NFL.
NFL's good. You know what I was just thinking? I think hockey might be worse than baseball.
Really?
I don't think I've ever heard, unless it's on like a Spit and Chicklets podcast where like they get guys to talk, but like if it's not like that environment, I don't think hockey players, I don't know what it is about them. They don't enjoy talking. They do it less than baseball, I think.
Yes. I'm not very well versed in hockey, but now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen a bite, like even like a viral one of any hockey player. Like Max Scherzer can get a little, amped up in the post game.
I swear on my kid's life. It's like, geez, man, calm down.
Sweat and rosin. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, that clip of him, like the John Boy breakdown of that was my favorite.
He is so good. I can't stop laughing every time John Boy does those like the lip reads. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's so funny.
That tone of voice he uses when he's doing the lip reading back and forth. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like anytime I see something like that, or like I'll hear like they're like the most controversial thing that I'm like, this is going to be a breakdown. I can't wait to see like, no, it was sweat and rosin. Just those guys kill it.
And he does like the whole, like Max Scherzer was literally so animated on the field. He's like waving his hands. You can't do this. You can't do this right now.
Yep.
Don't tell me you're doing this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And then he goes out the next start after the sticky stuff and gets shellacked. So it's not great for Max, obviously the Mets fans, and also just people are like, hey, maybe there's something going on and now it's stopped. What's
Yep.
up with that?
Yep.
We're just asking
Well, we'll see.
questions.
We're just curious. We just want to know what's going on.
We just want to get to the bottom of it. We just want answers.
We just want the honest truth.
Yes, Max,
So true.
please. It was probably the alcohol, but
yeah,
still. Anyway, all right. Last question. This has been incredible.
Thank you.
What is the best piece of advice that someone's ever given to you?
Oh,
could be life, work, career.
Okay. What if it turns out better than you could have ever imagined? Is the best piece of advice I've ever been given to me. Because I'm an overthinker. So any overthinkers out there, that helps. What about you?
Yeah.
What's the best? Give me some advice.
There's a quote that I love. I think I even have it somewhere written down next to me. It's like, nothing is ever as bad as it seems, nor does it ever last as long as you think.
So true.
And I think about that one a lot, but also like there's been some like people that have come on here and have given advice to where it's like, just say yes to everything. I feel like that's always a solid, like any opportunity. Just say yeah.
Yeah. Like always. I think my boss actually told me that one. Yeah. Just always like say yes, always be willing to do something or be willing to try. Good one.
Yeah. Cause I feel like people, they have like, their comfort zone. They don't want to go do this, whether it's like, if it's something that like you're passionate about, it's like a goal that you have. It's like, yeah, I mean, I know earlier we talked about having to move across the country to a small market to do a dream, but like, if that's what's going to get you to the end result, like, yeah,
let's do it. Yeah.
Why not? This has been incredible. Thank you so much for coming on. Like,
thank you for having me.
The way you bridge the gap between like irrational and rational in terms of Yankees fans is it cannot be understated.
Thanks.
So look forward to having plenty more conversations in the future.
Yes.
And talking all about baseball. So thank you so much. It's Ask Kait on TikTok, I think.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Ask Kait 2Ks.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Check her out. Ever growing community. So thank you so much.